to introduce myself. I'm lame, wealth, and taste. I'm the king of rock, there is none higher. Sucker MCs should call me sire. To rock my kingdom, you must choose fire. I won't stop rocking till I retire. Now we rock up funny and go correct. All circle on time and rhyme connect. Got the right to flow and to elect. Another river can't stand it, but give us respect. I wanna rock. Back in 1955, man didn't know about a rock and roll show. No man does. White man had the smokes, black man had the blues. No one knew what they was gonna do, but Tchaikovsky had the blues. Oh, let it out. You know what I want. Over now. It came to pass. The rock and roll was born. Love across the land, every rock and band going up the song. And the guitar man got famous. The business man got rich. And everybody was a superstar. It was a spirit. You know what I want. Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Into this house we're born. Into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out alone. Riders on the storm. And the music was good and the music was loud. What is it?
Hello everyone, we welcome you live to Ultimate Dirt TV's and iRock TV's coverage of the Apex Autoglass and Tinting Wing 410 Sprint Car Championship on iRacing. It is week 11, the penultimate round of the season, and we're at Fairbury American Legion Speedway, better known as Falls. Hello everyone, I'm Drake York, joined by Tyler Harris, and obviously with this being a close race to the end of the season, the penultimate round of the series, things are going to heat up, there's no doubt about that, Tyler, and what better track to come to than Falls?
That is right. Big words, big action here tonight at Fairbury as you take a look at live qualifying on your screen now. Tons of storylines going into this race tonight, Drake.
There's no doubt about it. Mason Hannigan trying to lock up his first career Apex Championship, about 58 points ahead of second place Tyler Shell. Practice wrapping up to go. Qualifying out on the speedway now. And speak of the devil, there's Tyler Shell. He goes the fastest at a 10.451 for Tyler Shell. Then it's Eiler, Szerzynski, Whitner, Beerline. Hannigan, your points leader, is 6th. Allen, 7th. Howe, 8th. Edens, 9th. And currently Brown rounding out the top 10.
You take a look at some of the point standings. Mason Hannigan has been dominant, really put together a stout 2022 season here in the competition. But then you take a look throughout the field, Drake, and that's where really things start getting interesting. You talk about Tyler Shell, Evan Say within 3 points of one another for that second position. Forster, Smith, Avila all within 6 points of one another. Add Beerline to the mix. Now they're all within 10 points of one another. Those positions, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th respectively. So the importance that you start to look for in these point standings as we enter this penultimate round is who finishes in that top 5. Why is that important? The top 5 get paid out and they get paid entry into next season.
And that's something that a lot of people don't realize about this series. And we were talking to Sparky, I think this was a few weeks ago. Tyler Shell has only paid for his entry fee into a season once, and that was all the way back in the series inception in season 1, which is unbelievable. We estimate he's probably saved about $3,000 just by running good with this series. So it goes a long way for these drivers, especially pros like Tyler Shell. Watching Davey Brown right now, he's one of the few drivers working the low side of speedway. Car almost looks like a nominee car with the left front picking up through the corner.
You take a look at the top of the leaderboard right now, Dylan Yeager atop the charts. He's a driver that has won with this series this season, and you talk about running the bottom. He did so at I-55 Speedway, Federated Auto Parts, I-55 Speedway, Pevely, Missouri. He did that on the bottom. He is currently your top time as qualifying now comes to a close.
Yeager, the fastest with a 10.437. If you look down through the order, I believe it was the top 5, all separated by less than a tenth. That is unbelievable. And Yeager, the fastest. Tyler Shell, second quick. Timothy Smith, third. Eiler, Szerzynski, the top 5. Then it's Byler Scheider, Miller, Tanner Pettit, Eric Whitner, the top 10. Hannigan, your points leader, not with the best start to the night. He's 11th. Then it's Allen, Howe, Edens, Brown, Hoffman, Ryan, Lindgren, Lucius, and Williams, your top 20.
Taking a look at that list there, the 8th place qualifier here tonight, Kenny Miller III. He was 8th place, but currently is the hottest driver in Apex right now. 3 straight victories. Can he go for number 4 tonight? The eyes will be on him.
Looking at our lineup now for heat race number 1 here at Falls tonight. To the inside of the front row by virtue of going quick time earlier this evening, Dylan Yeager will start from the pole to his outside PA driver, Braden Eiler. JP Scheider, good run for him last night in the Next Level Racing 360s at Lucas Oil Speedway. He will start third to his outside in one of the many 51 esports cars. That's Eric Whitner. New Jersey's Joe Howe will line up 5th to his outside PA posse member, Kenny Hoffman, and another one of the 51 esports entries. Then it's Bryce Lucius and Mil Gehring, the 4th, back in row number 4. And the 5th and final row to the inside by is Lonesome. He could make some noise in this heat race. That's Blake Majulis in the 127.
Goodness gracious, whose prayers do we need to answer to get a heat race like this, Drake? Unbelievable talent in heat race number 1. What a way to kick off the penultimate round of the Apex Autoglass and Tinting 410 Sprint Car Championship Series here tonight. Keep your eyes on Dylan Yeager. He's starting on the pool, so he's got a little bit of an easy stretch here, but he's definitely been hot this year, and he's going to be one to watch in this heat race.
No question about that. Track looking in tip-top condition as the field will roll off now for the first heat race of the evening. Once again, Dylan Yeager on the inside of the front row, and it is worth mentioning the winner of this heat race will start on the inside of the front row for tonight's main event. First, if you're just joining us here on Ultimate Dirt TV or iRock TV, you haven't missed a whole lot. We just wrapped up qualifying a little bit ago. Dylan Yeager, the fastest, and he will start to the inside of the front row in this one. Thank you so much, everybody, for spending your Thursday evening with us, and we're going to try to provide you some quality entertainment with some of the best iRacers in the world. And ready to go. Top 3 will transfer out of the heat races tonight. Yeager brings him down to the fire-off zone. Green flag in heat race number 1.
Great start for Dylan Yeager as he goes right to the bottom in turns 1 and 2. Brady Nyler coming up in that second spot. JP Scheiderer, feature winner last night in the 360 series, now in the third spot. Whitner fourth, and Hoffman rounding out your top 5 as those two battle for 4th and 5th respectively. Here comes Blake Majulis making a quick run of it up to position number 6.
Kenny Hoffman slides his teammate for the 4th spot. Right now, they're the first drivers on the outside looking in. That's almost a race to get back to the trailer and get ready for the B main event faster. Hoffman steps it up to the high side, though. He's going to try to get a big run around Majulis. Majulis still holds the 4th spot. Hoffman with another big run off the corner, but Blake Majulis has got that 127 dialed in around the tractor tires.
You ain't kidding about that. What a thing that we are witnessing here. He is looking really consistent, really smooth. Hoffman trying to run that high side, but it doesn't look like he just quite has enough to compete right now as we are closing in on about the halfway mark of heat race number 1. And it looks like Kenny Hoffman is staying dedicated to that high line.
Surprised Hoffman hasn't tried going down lower as he's watching everybody else in front of him just drive away from him on the bottom, but he could be committing to a setup, though. A lot of these guys do have dedicated setups that, you know, if you change your line, it may not work exactly the best, but we could have a good race on our hands here for that 3rd and final transfer spot. Scheider right there in car number 5, Blake Majulis in the 127. That is the race for the 3rd and final transfer spot, and Blake Majulis is closing.
That is the battle to watch. It looks like 1st and 2nd have separated themselves quite well, but now that position battle for 3rd. Watch out, JP Scheider. Here they come. The white flag is out. This is going to be the last opportunity for Majulis to make a move. He's going into the inside of 3 and 4, coming to the line. Who's it going to be for the final transfer? JP Scheider holds on. White flag is out, or there's the checkered flag. My apologies. Checkered flag is out. JP Scheider. Look at Blake Majulis. My apologies. We had a backstretch camera. So Blake Majulis edges out JP Scheider and takes the 3rd and final transfer spot home.
Yeah, and Majulis did indeed get that spot. So Blake Majulis with a come from behind into a transfer spot. He started shotgun on the field, finishes 3rd, but it's Dylan Yeager now with the shot at the clean sweep. Quick time tonight, won the heat race, and he'll roll from the pole in tonight's feature event. Braden Eiler and Blake Majulis joining him in the feature event. JP Scheider had that final transfer spot for a while in that heat race. Unfortunately, just loses it on the final lap. Then it's Eric Whitner, Hoffman, Lucius, Howe, and Gehring also going to one of the lower mains this evening. On to heat race number 2. Driver coming in at to the night, 2nd in points, the winningest driver with the Apex Series. That's Tyler Schell, and to his outside is Alex Herzinski. Miller the 3rd, he has been on a tear, looking to go 4 in a row. No one has ever done that with the series. He starts 3rd in heat race number 2. To his outside, your points leader, Mason Hannigan. James Edens, who just picked up a pro win at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55, will start 5th, and to his outside is Paul Bryan. Ernie Williams Jr., the Black Diamond Motorsports 91, will start 7th, and to his outside is Michael Farron. Keep your eye on this driver. Ryan Avila will start shotgun on the field in 9th, and the SpeedShot51.com 49.
You talk about drivers that have made an impact this season. Look no further than Ryan Avila. His name has been all over iRacing in the sprint car ranks. We'll see how he fares here tonight. Majulis had no problem coming from the back to the front. Avila has that same capability as well as the pace truck pulls off.
Ryan Avila, a big winner last night, won the Tanner Holmes Racing Chili Bowl, so he's looking to pick up his 2nd win, at least on the week. Green flag is out. Tyler Schell with the early lead into turn number 1.
To come down the backstretch. Now that I know that this is the backstretch camera view, that makes things a little bit easier on me. Look at the battle here for the 2nd spot. Mason Hannigan moving up to 2nd early.
Hannigan from 4th to 2nd on the initial start. Great start for Mason Hannigan as he's got his championship rival Tyler Schell right in front of him as everybody's slicing and dicing. Kenny Miller going to barely hold on that 3rd and final transfer spot for the moment. There's about 5 different lines you can run right now.
That is exactly right. This track is looking juicy. Look at the 23 of Trzynski up on the high side there. Now making a move on Hannigan fourth, or that it's Kenny Miller rather. He's been on a tear. Two W23s. They are in third and fourth respectively, but James Eden's going to try to throw a hat into his ring there for that spot. Cannot hold on. He's going to settle for fifth for this time around, halfway through heat race number 2.
Kenny Miller finally distanced himself from a bit of the craziness, and just as I say that, Trzynski and Edens both stick a nose to the inside of Kenny Miller. Up front, though, it's still all about Tyler Shell, but by far the best race on the track is for that third and final transfer spot. Miller has got it. Trzynski and Edens trying to close in, but Miller looking solid up on the top side of the speedway.
You talk about name dropping. You talk about talent. Kenny Miller, Alex Trzynski, James Edens, drivers that could easily win this race on any given night, battling for a final transfer spot. Just to go to show just how tough this Apex Series really is. 8 laps down, now line laps down, 2 to go. Here's contact made. Edens and Trzynski get together. Avila's going to gain a spot as well. Tough break for Trzynski.
That almost knocks Trzynski and maybe everybody else out of the running for that third and final transfer spot, as Shell, Hannigan, and Miller have all distanced themselves. White flag is out, 1 to go. Tyler Shell through 3 and 4. He'll start on the outside of the front row for tonight's feature event. He wins heat race number 2. Your points leader, Hannigan, second, and Kenny Miller, your third and final transfer. Then it's Edens, Avila, Trzynski, Farron, Williams, and Bryan going to a lower main.
Excellent heat race action there as we take a look here, I believe, at the results of heat race number 2. There they are on your screen. Tyler Shell, your winner. Mason Hannigan, second. Kenny Miller, your last transfer spot. Then it goes Edens, Avila, Trzynski, Farron, Bryan, and Williams. We'll have to move on to the lower mains here tonight and try to work some alphabet soup.
On to heat race number 3, the winner of this will start on the inside of number 2 in the feature event. Your lineup, a heartbreaking loss at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 with the World of Outlaws. For Timothy Smith last week, he's trying to right that wrong and pick up a big win with the Apex Series tonight. To his outside, Aiden Beerline. California's Tanner Pettit in one of the many 51 esports entries. This is number 24. We'll start to the inside of number 2. To his outside, the Elite Performance Industries, number 01, that's David Allen. A.D. Brown and another California driver, Joey Lindgren, will make up row number 3. Fourth and final row to the inside, Jonathan Paquette and Caden Folkerts will start shotgun on the field. 10 laps of distance, top 3 straight into the feature out of this one.
This appears to be the final heat race of the night. After this, we'll move on to the consolation mains. So Timothy Smith, as you mentioned, tough break this week with the World of Outlaws, but what an opportunity here to regain himself. Tough runner Aiden Beerline to his outside, though, will keep things interesting for sure.
And you were just talking about name dropping. This heat race has the same kind of swagger to it. You got Smith and Beerline, pro drivers in their own rights. Tanner Pettit, he's been pretty competitive, currently top 10 in points. David Allen, haven't seen him nearly as much recently with the series, but he is always fast. Green flag is out in heat race number 3.
Down the backstretch they go. Timothy Smith off to a great start, but here comes Beerline. He's going to choose that outside line. As you mentioned, 5 different lines of racing here at Fairbury right now. You can go either way you want. Beerline choosing that high side. Timothy Smith rolling fast early.
Tanner Pettit looks to the inside of Beerline. That's the race for the second spot. Good drive for Tanner Pettit off the corner. He'll shoot in the second spot. Beerline now in the hot seat. He's sideways. Gets hit by Allen. Beerline up the racetrack. Keeps it going in the right direction. We stay green. But Beerline just went from the catbird seat all the way to the back of the field. Now race for 4th into turn 1.
Yeah, tough break for Beerline there. It looked like Allen had a massive run. It looked like he tried to get on the binders, but maybe just did it just a little bit too late. Beerline got a little bit swirly from it and took the brunt of that. Huge move there through 1 and 2. What a move. Slicing and dicing, making some chicken salad going to the outside. That's Lindgren battling with Allen.
A.D. Brown has found something on the bottom. He's still almost got the non-wing sprint car set up on it. That thing is leaned over to the right, but he opens himself up to attack from Joey Lindgren. Lindgren looks through the middle. Lindgren to the outside, down the front straightaway, through turns 1 and 2. Lindgren up on the fence. He's got to run. Nose is ahead for the moment, just still can't clear Brown.
Not quite yet, but man, he's got those runs, and those runs are incredible. The kind of runs that you want to have, if you will. And here on lap number 8, Lindgren on the high side, he is committed. J.D. Brown committed to the low side. Which line will prevail? Which driver will prevail? We will find out in just 2 laps.
Absolutely, they'll turn for the white flag this time by Lindgren. Still not clear of Brown. Brown not clear of Lindgren. At the stripe as they come to the white flag, it's almost a dead heat. Brown with the third and final transfer spot. Smith looks to ride off into the sunset with this one, but it's anybody's guess who will be in the third and final transfer spot. It's Smith, Pettit, the top two, and at the stripe. Timing and scoring says Joey Lindgren got it.
Unbelievable. Just enough, and that sometimes is all it takes as we take a look at the final heat race here of number 3. Timothy Smith, your winner. Tanner Pettit second, and third will go to Joey Lindgren by just 3/100ths of a second. I think 100ths of a second. Is my math right?
Yes, your math is indeed correct.
Thank you. Thank you. How about that?
Second.
And J.D. Brown fourth, David Allen round out your top 5. Paquette, Beerline, and Folkerts rounds out the field for heat race number 3.
Fantastic stuff, to say the least. We move on now to heat race number 4. Bryce Lucis to the inside of the front row to his outside out of Pennsylvania. It's Michael Farron. Or excuse me, this is C-Main, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, this looks like a C-Main. We've seen Merle Gearing here and Ernie Williams. So yes, this will be the C-Main.
Apologies. So C-Main event getting ready to go with the Apex Auto Glass and Tinting Wingford 10 Sprint Car Championship. I knew I'd announce some of those names at some point this evening. Bryce Lucis and Michael Farron stay on the front row. That doesn't change. Aiden Beerline, we saw him get knocked around in his heat race. He's all the way down in a C now. To his outside is Joe Howe. Paul Bryan, a driver we normally don't see with the series out down under, starts 5th. To his outside is Caden Folkerts. Mil Gearing the 4th, and Ernie Williams Jr. will make up the final row.
I thought you were lying. I was lying to the viewers. And I thought maybe Santa had come just a little bit late and delivered us some more drivers for an additional heat race just because they've been so good here tonight. But if the heat races are any indication of what's to come, these mains are going to be just as good.
Absolutely, and it's not stacked like a Tyler Schell or Mason Hannigan C-Mate, but you still got some really impressive drivers. Bryce Lucis and Michael Farron, those two alone I've been really impressed with the last few weeks. Aiden Beerline, a perennial contender anywhere he goes on the iRacing services. Joe Howe, too, has been really impressing a lot of people. Ernie Williams Jr. starting shotgun on the field. Green flag is out, and it's Bryce Lucis with the first call into turn number 1 as he rips around the fence.
Looking good on that high side. He said, I saw it happen in the D main or in the last heat race. I'm going to make it happen in the C main here tonight. Bryce Lucis has a high line pretty much well in control, but Aiden Beerline, a little bit of chip on his shoulder there, just coming off of that last heat race. He's going to look to redeem himself here and get a good solid run in the C main to prepare himself for the B main coming up next.
Lucius, Beerline, Farron, those are your 3 transfers as they run right now. Brian, the first driver on the outside looking in. Here is Beerline on the inside of Lucius for the race lead. 2 totally different lines through turns 1 and 2. Lucius swings it around the outside and clears Beerline. Beerline a lot better in 3 and 4. What can he grab off the corner at the stripe? Beerline may have got him. Timing and scoring says Beerline. He had the lead. They're still side by side down the back straightaway. This is just the C main, Tyler.
Just the C main. These are where legends are made, buddy, in the C's and the B's, and we're watching it live right in front of us. Aiden Beerline and Bryce Lucis going side by side, throwing haymakers at one another, trying to best each other. Great competition here as 7 laps are now complete, 3 laps remaining. Ernie Williams Jr. making his way up, now up to position number 5.
Michael Farron currently your 3rd and final transfer as he bangs it off the boards in 3 and 4. He's got Paul Bryan right behind him. Bryan looking for any sort of opportunity. Here he comes to the inside in 3 and 4. Side by side for the final transfer. Farron able to carry that momentum off the corner. I think if Bryan's going to want to pass him, he's going to have to slide him because that momentum on the high side is just too tough to compete with.
It looks like he's got a solid lineup there as the white flag flies. 1 lap remaining. Beerline edging out Lucius right now. And you take a look, and there it is. Oh, contact, and Ernie Williams Jr. goes around. Checkered flag flies.
Oh, that was a close one at the line. Beerline able to hold on. 83 1,000ths of a second. It's Beerline, Lucius, and Michael Farron going into tonight's B-Man event. Done for the night is Bryan, Howe, Folkerts, Williams, and Gehring.
Heartbreak for Williams. It looked like he was in the best seat in the house, getting to watch that battle in front of him. And you never know, sometimes you're just keeping your nose clean and being there at the end when it matters. Unfortunately for Williams, does not work out. Michael Farron holds on for that third and final transfer spot. Beerline and Lucius finish 1-2 respectively. Unfortunately for Brian, Hal, Folkerts, Williams Jr., and Gehring, they are going to have to live to see another day next week for the championship round.
We'll move on to tonight's B main event. Top 11 out of the B main event will tag the tail of the feature event. Inside the front row, this driver had a good run at Lucas Oil Speedway last night with a nice level racing 360s. A good podium run for this driver. JP Scheider will start on the inside of the front row for this. James Edens to his outside in the Swindell Speed Labs number 52. Eddie Brown and Eric Whitner will make up row number 2. Ryan Avila and David Allen, row number 3. Kenny Hoffman and Alex Szerzynski will start in the 4th row. Jonathan Paquette in Beerline, row number 5. Bryce Lucis and Michael Farron back in row number 6. And that is your 12-car starting lineup for tonight's B main event. Top 11 going straight to the feature. So basically the name of the game here is just don't finish last.
Don't finish last and you find your way in. Yeah, it's completely right. And man, what an opportunity. Like I said, the C mains, the B mains, that's where legends are made. And I think we're going to see some names here made for themselves. We'll see if Michael Farron can't make his way up from the backside as we go green flag race, and JP Scheider takes off into the low side of turns 1 and 2.
JP's got a good run down the back straightaway. He's going to be able to hold off Edens and the rest of the field for the moment. Side by side for the second spot between Whitner and Edens. Edens seems to have the edge over him right now as they both close in on your race leader, Scheider.
Yeah, but here comes Alex Szerzynski using that high side to his advantage. He's falling right behind Edens. Looks like a pretty streamlined process there as they go through 1 and 2. Going 3 wide, coming out of 2, going down the backstretch for a moment.
Make it almost 3 wide for the race lead. Whitner looked low. He is side by side with Scheider into turn number 1. Whitner has the lead for the moment. Scheider counter punches on the outside down the back straightaway, but it's going to be the 17 to the front.
Cover your top 5 with a blanket. Are you kidding me? 5 laps into this 12-lap B main right now. Eric Whitner starting to pull away with it. Looks like he's got a hookup real well down low. This track is holding up very well so far.
Bryce Lucius was in the final transfer spot for a moment. Szerzynski powers around the outside of him, and here comes Kenny Hoffman. Hoffman with a big run into the corner, had to stab the brakes, and that cost him some momentum.
Man, you think we're having fun watching this. How about these drivers? They've got to be having a blast. Szerzynski has to hit on the binders as well as Edens starts to take that line away from him. About 3 wide, 3 different lines of racing around this track right now, and it is evident in turns 3 and 4 for sure. 1 and 2 seems to be a little bit more of a 2-line track as we have now 4 laps remaining.
I'd say 3 and 4 is almost distancing themselves to a 2-line racetrack. Not a lot of drivers running through the middle now. It's Whitner, Edens, and Lucius. Szerzynski powers around the outside of 3 and 4, trying to get into that final transfer spot. Can't do it there.
We're taking a look at the back there. Like you said earlier, the name of the game is to not finish last. Farron and Paquette are the 2 that are on that judgment line right now. And it's going to be tough to see who's it going to be with 2 laps remaining. But that's the battle you're going to want to watch. Who's going to have to go home and be main.
Currently Paquette down, and he's behind Farron by about 2 seconds. White flag is out. It's Whitner, Edens, Szerzynski, Hoffman, Lucius, Scheider, Avila, Beerline, Brown, Allen, and Farron currently in. Checkered flag for Eric Whitner. He'll pick up the win. The race to the line for a second, give it to Alex Szerzynski. Then it's James Edens, Kenny Hoffman, Bryce Lucius, Eric Whitner, JP Schneider, Ryan Avila, Aiden Beerline, Brown, Allen, and Farron going to the feature event tonight. The one driver on the outside looking in, Jonathan Paquette in car 48.
How about Szerzynski there? Those last 2 laps, really just ambidextrous all over the track, choosing the high line, low line, through the middle. It did not matter. Szerzynski is getting prepared for this A main feature event as we take a look at the finishing order for the B main.
Once again, it's Eric Whitner, your winner. Alex Szerzynski second, Edens third, Hoffman fourth, Bryce Lucius, Scheider, Avila, Beerline, Allen, Brown, Farron, all going to the main event. The one driver, as I mentioned, just missing the show, Jonathan Paquette, he will have to wait for next week to try to make another feature with the Apex Series. But Tyler, as we can see, the feature event cars have made their way out of the speedway for a quick warm-up session. While they do that, we'll step away for a few minutes. But when we come back on Ultimate Dirt TV and iRock TV, the feature event for the Apex and Auto Glass and Tinting Wing 410 Sprint Car Championship. Welcome you back to Ultimate Dirt TV's and iRock TV's coverage of the Apex Auto Glass and Tinting Wing 410 Sprint Car Championship on iRacing. We just pulled all the feature event cars off the track for their warm-ups, and they are staging for tonight's feature event. Here is your starting lineup. For the clean sweep tonight in the Victory Lane Racing number 48. He was quick time, won his heat, and he will roll from the pole in the feature event. That's Dylan Yeager. To his outside driver, currently second, the points, the winningest driver in series history. That's Tyler Schell. Number 2, Timothy Smith, looking for redemption after he led a majority of the Outlaw race at Peevely last week. And to his outside, another driver out of Pennsylvania. That's Braden Eiler. We have a lot of PA drivers in the starting field for this feature event tonight. Points leader coming into the penultimate round, Little Hurricane Mason Hannigan will start 5th to his outside California driver Tanner Pettit. Number 4 to the inside, Blake Majulis will start 7th, and Kenny Miller chasing history tonight, looking for the first driver to go 4 in a row with the Apex Series. He's got some work to do as he will start 8th in tonight's feature event. Joey Lindgren and Eric Whitner, your B main event winner, will start back in row number 5. Alex Terzinski and James Edens in row number 6. That's a stacked row number 6 for tonight's feature event. Number 7, Kenny Hoffman out of Pennsylvania. To his outside is Bryce Lucius, who ran the soup tonight. JP Scheider starts 15th, and to his outside picked up the win in the Tanner Holmes Chili Bowl last night. That's Ryan Avila. Then it's Beerline, Allen, JD Brown, and Michael Farron, your 20 car starting field. To go with the penultimate round of the season for the Apex Auto Glass and Tinting Wing 410 Sprint Car Championship on iRacing. We're green at Falls.
40 laps of distance. Dylan Yeager not wasting any time, going straight to the bottom. Contact from your leaders, and now the caution flags will fly. Cautions not happening in the heat races or in the C or B mains. Looks like actually for now we're going to stay green. It looks like the cars were able to keep themselves going.
A surprising move there by Race Control. I expected them to go yellow as soon as those cars broke loose, but Sparky and the gang keeping it clean and green, and we got a great battle for the third spot. 3 cars going at it. Majulis down on the low side, Smith through the middle, and that's Hannigan up top.
Hannigan now going to go through the middle. Majulis hanging on down low. Has a decent run coming off the low side of 3 and 4. Looking good down there. Looks like might have been a little bit of rework, if not at all. Majulis just has some things figured out with that setup.
Mason Hannigan is currently in the eye of the storm. He leads the points coming into this race by 58 over Tyler Schell. Schell in a position to gain some points, but it wouldn't be a whole heck of a lot as Timothy Smith with the turn 3 bomb on Schell. Schell able to come back out in the 85, stays in P2.
Timothy Smith showing Shell the right hook, man, just not letting up. And he had to get on the binders there. He wants to follow Shell through the high line in 3 and 4. But here comes Blake Majolas down low. Mason Hannigan, as you said, man, a lot of these drivers choosing that high line for right now. Not too many being too brave to run down low. It seems like a lot of momentum up high in the early stages of this feature event.
Dylan Yeager has been ripping the bottom since the top of the green flag, and he is pulling away from the rest of the field. He leads by a bit over 0.5 of a second as he turns for the start-finish line to put another lap in the books.
Looks like Dylan Yeager, one of two drivers, rather, outside of the top 10 in points with feature wins, one of them being Kenny Miller, currently tied with Clayton Tilley in 11th in points, and Yeager himself is 14th in series points. So, nonetheless, he's looking for to have 2 wins on the year. He joins an elite group if he can pull that feed off here tonight.
Speaking of the devil, Kenny Miller locked in a 3-way tussle for that 4th spot between Hannigan, Majulis, and Miller himself. That is once again the race for the 4th spot. Hannigan, your points leader, trying to play it safe, but he is still aggressive. Racing for the lead up at the front of the field. Dylan Yeager finally has company in the form of Tyler Shell.
Dylan Yeager down low, Timothy Smith, or rather Tyler Shell on the high side. He finally claims the lead, and here comes Timothy Smith right behind Shell. He is not leaving that high line. He's going to have to try to wait for a mistake if he wants to run like that with him. But unfortunately for Smith, Tyler Shell does not make a whole lot of mistakes.
Tyler Shell, your new race leader in car 85, and he brought Timothy Smith along with him. Yeager seems to stick with the bottom side of the speedway for the time being. You got to wonder if the bottom side is getting worn out because the top just seemed to come out of nowhere on Yeager, and he is in danger of falling off the podium as here comes Kenny Miller.
That's the danger of leading early and leading often in the front of the race. You don't know where the leaders are coming, and unfortunately, it looks like the freight train may have just passed him by. You just mentioned it. Kenny Miller up to position number 3, looking to make history here tonight. Mason Hannigan in 4th, now passing Yeager for that spot.
Kenny Miller sizes up his prey down the back straightaway. He trails behind Smith by about 2 car lengths. May will make it about 4 as they enter turn number 1. Look at the entry speed on Kenny Miller. He is hauling the mail on corner entry. It's corner exit where he's losing a bit of ground to Timothy Smith, especially off of turn number 4, but it's still all about Tyler Shell up front. He has not exactly cleared this group either. He is just about 0.4 of a second ahead of this awesome battle for the 2nd spot.
Yeah, Kenny Miller going to have to get a little bit of decision making going on here. How is he going to make a move? He might not have to, because into the wall goes Smith. Timothy Smith just puts that right rear end to the wall just a little bit, gets him loosened up. He's able to stay going and keep it going, but definitely scrubs off some speed. And here goes the opening there. Looks like Timothy Smith is unfortunately trying to let Kenny Miller by. If he just holds it straight, he might be able just to keep it going as he is, but Kenny Miller not making any mistakes yet.
Tyler Shell has opened up his lead now to just under 0.8 of a second as they work through 3 and 4. Smith slides himself to the cushion in 3 and 4. He's still trying to hold off Kenny Miller. Miller, again, with a great entry to turns 1 and 2. It's just corner exit where Miller is losing ground to Smith. But Kenny Miller, he is staying committed to the cushion on corner entry and cutting down the racetrack on corner exit in 3 and 4. That could help him, but time is quickly running out. We're just past the halfway point in tonight's 40-lap feature event.
Yeah, Timothy Smith definitely making his moves to try to find some sort of momentum, some sort of a different line that Shell hasn't seen for himself yet to try to gain some momentum. You talk about gaining momentum. Look at that beautiful number 11 of Kenny Hoffman now going around the outside of Blake Majulis. That position battle is for position number 6. How about Tanner Pettit up to P number 5 right now? Pettit currently sits 10th in Apex points.
Tanner Pettit with a fantastic run tonight. He's done a good job of just hanging around and being there when it counts. He's had a few races this year. A few tough races this year, I should say. There's no question about that, but he has improved each and every week, and he is currently challenging Mason Hannigan for 4th. That's the Apex points leader just in front of Tanner Pettit's number 24, and Pettit throwing caution to the wind, entering turns 1 and 2 as he rode the wall.
Got to make the most of it when the opportunity presents itself. He has an opportunity for a podium here. He's got about 11 laps if he wants to make it happen. It looks like he's got the car to do it. He's got some time. We'll see if we stay green, and that could definitely help his case too if the caution fly, or rather lap cars start to become a little bit of an option for that.
Absolutely. This is a fantastic race these two drivers are putting up. But meanwhile, Kenny Miller has made it past Timothy Smith. He knows history's on the line. Can he get to Tyler Schell? Less than 10 laps to go. Miller's in the wall off of 2.
Checker or wrecker for Kenny Miller. He's going to get there one way or another. If he can, he's going to take it home on the wrecker here tonight. 8 laps remaining, and it looks like as we were talking about having the car to do it, Kenny Miller definitely has. We'll have to keep an eye on our gap there between himself and Schell as the laps start to close.
That time by at the stripe, it was just a touch over a second, separating Tyler Schell from Kenny Miller. Lot traffic looms right in front of Tyler Schell. How does he get through? Scheider's the first car. He'll put a lap down. Looks to make it past the 5 machine with ease.
Looks like a lot of the lap traffic right now, for the exception of a couple, are running the mid to low line more or less, just trying to get around the racetrack and maybe trying to stay out of the way. It looks like most of the leaders are the ones running that high line, but that might not be the case here as they start to close in more and more. We see a car ahead of the leaders that are running that same line, so things could get interesting here in these last couple laps.
Lap traffic still has the potential to be a factor. J.D. Brown, the next car that Tyler Schell will encounter, as Brown steps it up to the top side of the racetrack. So that's going to force Tyler Schell's hand to either drive by him on the bottom side of the speedway or slide him, which could open the door for Kenny Miller. Timothy Smith, though, lying back in the weeds in that 3rd spot. He is right there if the top 2 get together.
Talk about drivers making their way up through. Look at Lindgren up to the 9th spot now. Doesn't look like a whole lot of action from our C-main drivers. Bryce Lucius currently out of this one. Aiden Bierlein also out of this one. Whitner checked out early as well. Couple cars going a lap down now here. 2 laps remaining. Eyes are on your leaders. It looks like Tyler Schell might just have this wrapped up, but the gap is quickly closing.
White flag is out, 1 lap to go. Miller, over the last couple laps, has been able to cut down the lead. It's almost a half a second as they come down the backstretch. Both hit the high side, do 3 and 4, and off at turn number 4, Tyler Schell, your winner here at Fairbury. 2nd spot, Kenny Miller. 3rd is Smith, Hannigan. 4th, and Tanner Pettit rounds out your top 5.
Unbelievable. A couple more laps there, and I think this race is a little bit of a different story, or at least it's a lot closer than what it would show on the gap sheet there. But incredible race for Tyler Schell. Tough break for Dylan Yeager, starting on the pole. Unfortunately, you just don't see how that track's going to break down sometimes. He committed to the low side early, and it seemed like it stayed there for a while. Unfortunately, it comes back to bite him, and the bleeders start to move through and found that high line, and looked like that's what the key to success was here. But we'll hear that from our winners themselves.
Here's a look at your official feature results. Tyler Schell, your winner. Kenny Miller, 2nd. Timothy Smith, 3rd. Mason Hannigan, your points leader, 4th. Tanner Pettit rounds out the top 5. Hoffman, 6th. Yeager, 7th. Edens, 8th. Lindgren, 9th. Dave Allen rounding out your top 10. Then it was Blake Majulis, Ryan Avila, Eiler, Brown, Scheider, Szerzinski, Farron, Lucius, Bierlein, and Whitner, your 20-car finishing field. Get a word with your podium drivers here in just a moment. Little bit on Mason Hannigan for the championship with the Apex Autoglass and Tinting Wing 410 Sprint Car Championship. Tyler, that was a heck of a race start to finish, and Dylan Yeager got out to the front, obviously, and he was rolling around the tractor tires. Did you ever contemplate going down to the bottom, or did you know the top was going to be the place to be as this track wore out?
I was just kind of middle top, though. That was the game plan. I just not very good around the bottom like they are around here, so I just looked to the top and hope for the best, and the bottom ended up wearing out, and was able to get the win.
Able to close in a little bit on Mason Hannigan for this points championship heading into the final race. What's it going to take for you to bring the 85 back to championship glory with the Apex series?
Probably take some luck a little bit, but never know. Might be able to sneak out another win here, hopefully, and see what we can be.
That's Tyler Schell, your winner here at Fairbury with the Apex Autoglass and Tinting Wing 410 Sprint Car Championship.
Now we move on to second place finisher here tonight. How about it unbelievable turn of events there. It looked like if you just had a little bit more time, Kenny, you would have been there. The car was coming on real strong. How did it look from your perspective?
Yeah, car was great. We came from 8th, and to do that on this track, on this surface, I feel like we had some pretty good speed. Once I got the second, I think I drove it too hard trying to get to Tyler, and I think it didn't do me any good. Once I slowed myself down, coming with 5 to go, I was definitely running a little bit more consistent times, but certainly got some things to work on before Monday, but I think we're headed in a good direction.
Hey, try to go for history here tonight. Try to get 4 in a row. Unfortunately, the dice don't roll that way, but you'll definitely take a podium finish nonetheless, and you're starting to move up those point standings even after missing a few weeks.
Yeah, it was certainly cool to be able to knock off 3 in a row there, but with how hard this league is, it's really just a good run if you can run inside the top 10 here. So, we'll keep working, and I did miss some races there early, so wherever we end up in points is fine by me. We're gonna continue to support the league as long as Sparky keeps putting it on.
People that you would like to thank for making this all happen for you on a weekly basis.
Everybody at Phantom Motorsports, 129 Racing, M9 Performance, Weichel Sportswear, Velocity Race Designs, Trevor, Tim, Chris, all the guys over there, for practicing together and showing how fast we are here.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was your second place finisher here tonight. Kenny Miller coming home in that second spot. We'll move to third.
Here is Timothy Smith, your third place finisher here tonight at Fairbury American Legion Speedway. And Timothy, to have something for Tyler Schell in the early stages of this race. You were able to keep pace with him, and then Tyler Schell was able to drive past you, and eventually Kenny was able to get past you, making you settle for the podium. So what changed throughout the middle part of that race that exactly didn't allow you to contend for the win?
Just driver error mainly, but we're just learning about this place. I haven't ran this place since I can remember. It had been at least a year, so a little bit rusty. We knocked off some of the rust at the end, though, and I feel like I was keeping pace at the end.
Anybody you'd like to thank for getting you here tonight?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Tiger Towing, M9 Setups, TSR, the Stewart House, BPM, Automotive Specialists, Wolf Pumps, Smith Racing, everybody that helps me out that gets ready for the pro races. Can't thank them enough.
It's Timothy Smith. He rounds out the podium. And race fans, that's going to do it for us here at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway with the Apex Autoglass and Tinting Wing 410 Sprint Car Championship on iRacing. And Tyler, what comes down to next week? Championship race, and it's going to be right here on Ultimate Dirt TV.
Absolutely looking forward to it. It's going to be an incredible night at Cedar Lake Speedway for the final night of racing in this Apex season. It's been a blast so far, and it's all going to come to an end next week. You will not want to miss it.
Absolutely, and by our rough, and I will emphasize rough, calculations, Mason Hannigan will still hold the points lead heading into Cedar Lake. And you heard Tyler Schell talk about what he needs to get to Hannigan to lock up the championship. So the question is, who will it be, Mason Hannigan or Tyler Schell as your Apex Autoglass and Tinting Wing 410 Sprint Car champion for this season? Well, you can find out next week. We'll be at the Cedar Lake Speedway right here on Ultimate Dirt TV. But for now, we're going to say so long from Fairbury American Legion Speedway. For Tyler Harris, Drake York saying so long from Falls.